Dry bulb temperature and wet bulb temperature are both measurements used to describe the condition of the air in terms of temperature and humidity. They are commonly used in meteorology, engineering, and various other fields. Here's the difference between the two. Dry bulb temperature, TDB, is the temperature reading that is typically referred to as the air temperature, or ambient temperature. It is the temperature of the air as measured by a regular thermometer without considering the effects of humidity or moisture in the air. In other words, it's the temperature you would feel if you checked the temperature with a regular thermometer. Wet bulb temperature, TWB, is the temperature that a thermometer would indicate if it were covered in a wet cloth and exposed to moving air. Evaporative cooling takes place when the water on the wet cloth evaporates, and this cools down the thermometer. Wet bulb temperature takes humidity into account and reflects the cooling effect of evaporation on the air. It gives an indication of how effectively moisture can evaporate into the air, which is why it's used in assessing the potential for processes like cooling or drying. It can also be defined as lowest temperature to which air can be cooled by evaporative cooling at constant pressure. The difference between dry bulb and wet bulb temperatures provides valuable information about the humidity level of the air. The greater the difference between the two, the lower the humidity. For example, if your room's dry bulb temperature is 40 degrees Celsius and wet bulb temperature is 30 degrees Celsius, moisture present in the wet cloth covered over the bulb of thermometer will get evaporate and thus leaving cooled surface causing reduced temperature measurement, say 30 degrees Celsius. Higher the evaporation, lower the temperature measured by the thermometer. This takes place when atmosphere accepts more moisture from wet cloth through evaporative process. Meaning surrounding atmosphere is lesser humid, it can accept more moisture. If the dry bulb and wet bulb temperatures are the same, it means the air is saturated with moisture, and the relative humidity is 100%. Here no evaporation takes place because already the air contains enough moisture. The relationship between dry bulb temperature, wet bulb temperature, and relative humidity is used to create psychometric charts that aid in understanding air properties, such as moisture content and enthalpy. In summary, while dry bulb temperature represents the basic air temperature, wet bulb temperature takes humidity and evaporation into account, offering insights into the moisture content of the air and its potential cooling capacity through evaporation.